Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lockdown Lunch with me, Kelly Ransom. Sorry, I'm just picking it up on my phone. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're new, welcome. If you've been tuning in every day, thank you. If you're watching this later, thank you. I hope that you are having a wonderful, I don't know what day it is, so let's get to our guest and find out. I'd like to introduce to everyone my very first essential personnel guest, Caitlin Sheehan.
Yay! That's me. I can take the mask off because I'm in my office alone, but I thought I would do it for dramatic effect. But yes, I do.
Caitlin works at a hospital.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that. But most importantly, first and foremost, what day is it?
It is Wednesday, tax day, but not tax day, April 15th.
Perfect. That's very helpful. So it's hump day.
Ooh, yeah, hump day.
Hump day. And we got stimulus checks today, which I thought was interesting.
I did. I got mine. I wasn't expecting it this week. I did. Yeah, I got mine because I get the direct deposit usually. So I was like, oh, sweet. That's great.
I woke up this morning to a Venmo from Chris. It said stimulus. I was like, oh, wow.
He just sent his money to you? He was just like, here, queen, take my money?
No. I wish. No, he does the taxes. So his account is the direct deposit.
Oh, because you guys are married. I forgot about that.
We're married. But then I just gave I'm giving the whole check to his mother to help with the mortgage.
Very nice. I know, I already spent mine.
I'm curious what people are going to do with them because, you can't really go shopping.
No, I put it on my student loan because I was like,
smart.
I'm lucky, I'm blessed, both Ben and I are still working. So, I'll take that and, put it towards my student loans. So
you're technically not locked down.
I'm not locked down at all. I've got a fancy pass that I can flash on the roads if I got pulled over, hypothetically, saying that I am essential.
You are essential. So you've had a completely different experience. I mean, everyone that's been on has had a totally different story and experience and perspective. But I'd since you're not locked down, has your life been pretty much the same, normal? Is the hospital busier?
It's very different. I mean, yes, I still come to work and I'm not working crazy hours, but I have nothing to do after work. I used to maybe see you sometimes, right. Or I don't know, go to a restaurant. Yeah, rip some shots, But yeah, so no, I mean, work is really interesting. I have to say that I do feel very safe at work. We have enough supplies to do our job safely. And so what I do at the hospital, just in case anybody's wondering, is I manage the patient dining. So it's changed a lot. So I'm a dietitian, but I manage the patient dining because I'm also a chef. So food is my thing, and I'm great to be in the hospital, but I also love food. So I'm the dietitian in the food services department. But the food service department has changed a lot to deal with this. We're preparing for short staffing, God forbid our staff gets sick and things like that, just all these contingency plans, because we have no idea what's going to happen. We haven't been as busy as we thought we were going to be, which is a blessing. But a lot of our patients aren't eating right now because people don't think about when you're on a ventilator, you still need to receive nutrition. And so a lot of those ventilated patients are on tube feedings. So that changed what we order. We have a 3-week supply on pallets ready because we don't know what the volume is going to be. So that's changed. So putting a couple tube feed cans in a bag is much easier than making a whole meal. So that's kind of helped with the staff here as well. But yeah, I mean, I still come to work. I'm pretty much Monday through Friday, but I could work any day of the week. I'm pretty flexible. So yeah, I mean, the best thing about my job is the staff. I've got 180 staff members underneath me.
Wow, that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, so, they've all been great, and, it's scary for all of us. If you watch the news constantly, it can make you very anxious.
Yeah.
So we try to make sure that, what they hear on the news is accurate, because, we don't know what they listen to at home. So we try to, take the time and talk with the staff members and really try to give them the best information that we have. And the hospital that I work at has been great at sending out like daily updates, not just to managers, but to like all staff. So like they all have access, but not all of them check their email.
Right.
So, we've been making sure that they have that information.
I never actually thought about people eating on ventilators. I guess you can't at all.
You can't.
Are you out when you're on one? You're not conscious.
I think the majority of the time you're conscious, but you could possibly be ventilated awake. I'm not sure. I've never worked in an ICU as a dietitian, so it's not like my jam.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, inpatient dietitians are crucial during these times, because they need to make sure that our patients, if they're going into like organ failure and stuff, there's all these different things they need to take into account to make sure, like, we don't want to overfeed people. There's like bad things that can happen with that as well. Like, you're at higher risk for infections if you're being overfed and things like that. So it's like a careful balance. So dietitians are like really essential at this time, like up on the floors with the patients, and also like me, like trying to make sure like we have the right food for the patients, which has become challenging.
You have to like suit up?
Do I have to suit up?
Yeah.
No, because I don't really go up on the patient floors. Like, this is my office. It's in the basement. There are no windows. I've got like my food decorations, like all like food themed decor. Yeah, I got that from IKEA. They have the best food posters, although they've been lacking a couple years, but they used to always have like food posters. But no, I don't go up on the floors, and you don't need to suit up to go up on the floors. Like, we have masks and, hand sanitizers, and we're not entering the rooms of any patients that require PPE, just to conserve it for the nursing staff. So we drop a lot of things off at the nurses station just to conserve, even on areas that have nothing to do with COVID. If they require like PPE to go in to protect the patients from us, we still don't go in, because we want to save like the masks and everything, or not the masks, we get masks, but like the gowns and the gloves and stuff for
that makes sense. So there are patients that are not even COVID related that are still just because
I mean, the thing that people forget about is like healthcare before COVID, like, is still going on. So like there's still people with heart attacks, unfortunately. There's still people with cancer, and we still need to provide them. And I mean, they tried to get rid of a lot of patients that don't need to be here 100%. Like, so the patients that are here like really need to be here for treatments or whatever. But like, there's still people here completely unrelated, because they still need care.
I think a lot of people might not think about that these days, but life still goes on, and other medical issues still happen right now. So of course, thank you. I'm sure everyone out there is super grateful for all the work that you're doing and all the work that your staff is doing. And
I'm thankful for everyone staying home, because traffic has been.
I was just going to ask, how's traffic?
It's awesome. Like, because usually it takes me about an hour to get to work, even though I only live 6 miles away, because I take the T.
Yeah.
It's, and I don't mind. I love listening to my podcasts and stuff like that. So it's it's me time. But now I've been driving in because my fiancé is not going to work. He's a teacher. So we share a car. So now I'm going in. And thank you to Marty Walsh for allowing me to park at meters and not pay.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
I know. So today was my first time like driving in and parking at a meter. So I'll probably get a ticket, but I guess I can send like a picture of my ID and like they'll forgive it. So we'll see how it goes.
Have you noticed that there's like less people out? Because
there's nobody.
When Christopher and I have gone on our errand runs, which are few and far between, I'm always like, oh my God, there's so many people. Like, I think there's more than I expect to be out.
Well, I mean, when I'm going into work like early in the morning and stuff, it's just crazy how there's like nobody. Like, I drove down Washington Street, and from like West Roxbury all the way to Forest Hills took me like 6 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
that's like 4 a.m. status.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely eerie, and it's something that, like, I need to start taking more pictures because I want to be able to, like, show, like, my kids,
Yeah.
like, I don't have kids, but hopefully I'll have kids one day. But, like, just, like, how creepy it is to be, like, in the city with, like, nobody around, and, like, it's interesting, and it's nice for me because I still have to get places,
Right.
but I can't wait for it to get back to normal because that it'll be a sign of good things. And
Yeah, me neither.
so, and I miss listening to my
What's
podcast in the morning.
what was that?
I miss listening to my podcast in the morning, like on the bus. But when I get home from work, I've been taking my dogs on like an hour and a half walk so I can like listen to all my podcasts. So that's been nice.
Good. I'm glad you're still taking time for you. Just
And you
one
give
more question about the hospital, and then we'll move
okay.
on. Because I know that's all consuming of your whole life. But like, what's the atmosphere like? Like obviously stressful. But like, are people in generally good spirits, or is there just like, how are you feeling there?
It is quiet at the hospital because there's a lot of like outpatient stuff that's just not happening anymore. So
Right.
every day when I come into the hospital, it feels like a Sunday, like where you walk around, there's really like nobody around.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't really go up much on the patient floors, but it's just quiet. It's just
I
weird.
guess that's good.
It is. It is. It is.
So, you mentioned you're a dietitian, but you're also a pastry chef.
Yes, I am.
And Caitlin and I have had the pleasure of working together before. She's an amazing pastry chef. She's I can't do it. I suck at it. So I'd always have Caitlin come in and help me with it. She's baked some fabulous wedding cakes at weddings I've been at. She's just an amazing, amazing pastry chef. And I am sure that if you've been on social media, you've noticed an uptick in panic baking. Everyone's baking.
Yeah, and
I feel like the only one without a sourdough starter. Like, what am I doing wrong?
I can give you some of mine. We can share.
I feel like it's a cult that I don't want to join.
I mean, it's just like I have all this time on my hands, even though I'm working, like after work, like there's nothing to do. And I am much more of like a pastry baker, like cake baker, things like that. I don't really make bread a lot at home in general because I used to do it. Like used to work at Davio's in Foxborough, a Patriot Place, and I actually like made all the bread there. So like I like making bread like professionally, which is like totally different than making at home. Because when you're professional, you've got like this beautiful proofing box. It's like the exact temperature you need, like a beautiful deck oven that creates this beautiful crust. And so like when you do it at home, it's like, oh, I just like let it sit in the bowl and I have to wait a long time because my house is cold. Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting. Like Ben, my fiance, his mom really likes to make bread. So like I hadn't made bread in like years, and I baked bread with her back, I think around Thanksgiving. And I was like, oh, like this was like fun. I was like,
You're good at it.
Yeah, I mean, baking is easier than cooking, I think, because you like, I don't know. It depends on your personality, I guess. Well, you follow the instructions. So like if you're not good at so if you're not good at like making IKEA furniture, you're probably not good at baking. But you know, so I've been, you know, trying out all these recipes, and I have my sourdough starter, and you know, I've got tons of cookbooks that I never look at and still haven't looked at because like Google is way
that's a good one. I have tons too that I don't even know right here.
I never look at them. Like I have like Joanne Chang's like flour bakery and like her cookbook, like and I'm like, oh, I should make her recipes. And like they're beautiful recipes and I'm sure they come out really great. But then when I like read her recipes, they're like really complicated and I'm like, like I make beautiful stuff, but I don't like complicated recipes. Like I shouldn't say complicated. I don't like to wait. So like recipes that require me to like do like certain steps and be like, okay, like wait like 90 minutes. I'm like, no.
No. I just realized I didn't put on a watch today. Do you have anything that you don't have to give the recipes, but recipes people can look up that are
Oh,
pretty
I can share. It's not proprietary. So I used the New York Times sourdough starter recipe, which was like just like mixing pineapple juice and flour and leaving it on your counter for a week and like mixing. Yeah, because I guess the pineapple juice, it's acidic, but also has like sugar, so it's like a really good liquid to do a sourdough starter with. I don't know. I just followed the recipe. And then you know who's been blowing up on social media? King Arthur flour.
When I can find some, I use it.
Right, like obviously in the stores, but like their social media presence is like on point because they like know everybody is like trying to learn how to bake. So they've got so many resources, like they always do in general, but like especially now. So if you want to like try to bake, like King Arthur flour recipes are always like amazing.
That's really good advice. And I also love a banging social media presence, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. Like and it's just like it's feel good stuff. Like they've got their employees like baking at home with their kids and like yeah, because like they can't like go to work. But I'm like, I need flour. I think someone needs to go to work.
Right. What are some of your favorite things that you've baked during this time?
So I've been using my sourdough starter because you have to use it at least like once a week. So I've been making sourdough bread and like working on it. Like it's good. It needs to be like more sour, but see, to make it more sour, you have to let it sit in the fridge overnight. And again, I hate waiting. So I haven't like done the real one. I've done like a sourdough that also has instant yeast because I'm like, all right, like let's get on. Like I want sourdough like today. But that's not really how bread works. So
right now.
I've been doing that, and then what else? I made like sourdough pizza crust, and I did some breads that aren't sourdoughs that also only require like a 2-hour wait. There's like a honey cinnamon oatmeal bread that King Arthur had that was really good.
That sounds good.
And then I've been making like fresh pasta, like which doesn't require a recipe. Like I did like noodles, I did ravioli, like stuff that I'm usually.
I saw your ravioli pics. Very nice form.
They were luscious. I like had to borrow a cookie cutter. I don't even like have a round cookie cutter. Like I don't know where all my baking stuff has gone over the years. It's just like seriously. But I did order ravioli cutters from Amazon, and it only took 3 weeks. So I have them now for the next.
Good.
Yeah.
For everyone keeping score at home, I'm still waiting for my bird feeder.
Oh, did you order that after you talked to Stephanie?
Yes.
So you could bird watch at home?
Yes, it's supposed to come.
I'm terrified of birds. Like that.
You're terrified of birds?
That whole conversation had me like, I'm terrified. Like one time I was on the orange line and a tiny little bird flew into my car and I was like on the next stop I had to like run out and get into a different car because I was like, no. Oh, and I got pooped on by a bird yesterday on my walk.
That's good luck.
It was on my hand. Like luckily it was on my head. No, I'm all set.
I don't know if it's an Irish thing or it's just something my mom used to tell me, but
I think it's just like a way of people turning something that's horrible like into something that is not horrible.
Which means it's probably an Irish thing.
I know. Like rain on your wedding day is good luck. It's like no, it just sucks. I don't want it to rain on my wedding day.
It is good luck. We'll talk about your wedding in a second. It's not going to rain on your wedding day.
It could. I'm prepared.
I want to talk about the dietitian side of what you do, though. So I'm sure lots of people are trying to stay healthy right now, and maybe they are rethinking their nutrition during all of this to try and keep their health up, or just, it's an opportunity to start new things. Do you have any like healthy eating tips or things that you like to tell people as a dietitian?
Yes. So I like to tell people that you can't boost your immune system. So
you can't?
No.
But I've been eating so much elderberry.
Yeah, I'd look into that. That might not be good for you. I don't know off the top of my head. But I don't know. So as a dietitian, I follow the health at every size philosophy. So I'm not really, even though the term diet is in my licensure, I am not a believer in diet culture. So for me, I think that healthy eating is for everyone, regardless of your size, and that the goal of healthy eating shouldn't necessarily be to control or to manipulate your size. So with that in mind, I think it's really important that we acknowledge the psychological aspect that eating has, especially during times like these. And comfort foods are called comfort foods for a reason. So as a dietitian, I want people to not feel guilty about indulging in comfort foods, because it's a natural thing to do. And obviously, like, by the grocery stores, you can tell people are doing that. I mean, all the flour that's gone, I'm like, oh, I guess everyone like decided to stop their gluten-free diets that don't have celiac disease. Like, so I think it's just really important to, and I mean, there's a lot of memes going on about, quarantine weight gain, and that can be really triggering for people that have suffered from eating disorders in the past. So I really try to make sure we frame it like, positively, that, weight fluctuation is normal, and, to make sure we still encourage moving your body in ways that feel good to you. So people are like, oh, exercise, but that can be really, that seems like a huge hurdle to go to overcome for a lot of people. That
right, it's not accessible to everyone.
Right. Well, yes, a traditional exercise like gym.
Traditional
like
exercising.
Yeah, and so, I think that the one good thing that's come out of this is that a lot of companies are making like different classes available online, like yoga and meditation and things like that. And I do not like yoga and I do not like meditation, but I know it's like other people. Right, but I know people do like it, so I think that, but then there's always making sure that like the videos you're watching aren't like perpetuating diet culture of like, oh, you're doing this to make your body smaller. It's like, no, you should be doing this because it makes you feel good, it makes your body stronger, and like there's so many, it makes your your mental well-being better. So there's just a lot of different reasons why people can participate in physical activity, but it's not like, it shouldn't be made to feel like a requirement. For me, I really like going on my walks with my dogs, which is not fast. It's not a fast pace at all, because my dogs love to smell everything, and Cooper likes to eat turkey poop. So it's like, it's a constant stopping. Yeah, it's great. I'm like, oh, you're just gonna get some sort of weird fungal infection. Do you see a lot of turkeys where you live, like the massive wild turkeys?
Yeah, I haven't seen any on my street, but I've seen when I was going into JP, they were like all over JP.
I'm terrified of birds, and those are massive birds.
Right.
So, like, I literally had to call Ben one time because I was like, I can't get into the car. There's turkeys by the car. Come bring the umbrella so we can try to scare them.
Yo, I have friends with very similar stories who aren't as scared of birds as you are. Like they're taking over, dude. Turkeys
they're really scary. They're everywhere. So yeah, so we like to go on walks, and that's kind of like really where like I get into a good mental space, and I also feel like I'm like moving my body in a way that feels good to me. So I think those are important things to remember. And my fiance Ben, he really likes to do like traditional exercise. He likes to do kettlebells. Yeah, he does all sorts of.
Do like that.
Yeah, you do like this, and then he does like these things, and he does like jumps with them, and like he loves it. And I'm like, good for you, but like I'm not gonna join you. So
it makes me getting my exercise from like marathon panic cleaning. I deep clean the house top to bottom 3 days a week, if not more. And
yeah, and like those kinds of like
sweat, and you're moving, and you're like vacuuming, and like I feel that makes me feel good mentally, and then afterwards I do feel like I worked out.
Yeah, I mean, people like don't give enough credit to like what you would call like an activity of daily living, like to do those kinds of cleaning things. Like if you're moving furniture and you're like pushing a vacuum cleaner and you're bending and you're stretching, it's like, we need to give credit where credit is due. Like that is work too, like, a physical movement of your body.
I completely agree. I have another question about healthy eating. So say you live in what they're called like food deserts. So where I work at Roxbury is considered a food desert, and a lot of the places that people, would go to shop or like corner stores or bodegas, are there things that you can buy at smaller, non-giant supermarkets that are still nutritious and healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. So like it's really interesting because a lot of like government programs like WIC have actually helped the food selection in general of like like lower income or like food desert type areas, because for example, if you are a store bodega and you want to participate in the WIC program, they require you to stock certain things. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, so it's actually helped not just the WIC participants, but everyone in their community. So, like, in order to participate in WIC, you have to have things like whole grain tortillas and fresh fruits. So, at bodegas, like even the 7-Eleven next to Galway House, like they have fresh fruit, and the reason they do, and the reason why they have fresh fruit is because they participate in WIC and SNAP and things like that. So, that government programs can actually be like really positive on public health, not just for the participants directly in their programs, but also like to the community at large, which I find so interesting. I did a lot of research about that kind of stuff when I was in grad school. So
I find that I love, I grew up in a small apartment that was next to a convenience store, and we didn't have a car or anything like that, so we did a lot of our shopping from this convenience store near your house on Washington Street. And it was a struggle. This was 20 years ago, but it was a struggle then to find healthy food in there. But I see it's progressed. It's like the 7-Eleven in Jamaica Plain is a great example. They have bananas and
they've got whole fruit, and they also have like cut fruit, and both of those are like eligible for like WIC and SNAP. So like those are good things. I mean, it's still not perfect. Like I've done some research, so don't quote me on this, about like farmers market. So like you love the Rosendale farmers market. I love the farmers market as well. But there's actually been a lot of research saying that like farmers markets actually like aren't strategically placed in areas that like need them, because like it's like such like a bougie thing to do. It's like, I'm going to the farmers market today, and like I'm there, like I do it too. And I don't think necessarily in Massachusetts or Boston in particular, I think we do a lot better job of like being thoughtful about that kind of stuff. But nationally, those types of farmers markets might be more in like a wealthier area, which is like really unfortunate. But there are other government programs that you can like, they'll double your SNAP coupon for produce. So like for participants in SNAP, like it behooves them to go to a farmer's market, and it's really good because then it keeps the dollars in the community, so it's going to the farmer instead of into a big supermarket when times are normal. Right. So I can't wait to get back to the times where we can have farmers markets. So
I haven't even thought about it. I hope, oh no, farmers markets.
They're not a bad thing. We just need to be like more conscious about it. And like a lot of farmers markets sell things that you can't really buy with like SNAP benefits, because they're like, baked goods, or I mean, I don't know, you think you can buy baked goods, but like fancy stuff, like, the meat, I don't know, maybe except for the meat, I don't know, but like all like the fancy like art stuff, which is great, and
it's crafted.
Right, which is great because it's like helping support our artists and our communities, but like it's a balance. So,
well, I can't wait to go to a farmer's market again now. Thanks a lot.
Let me point out all the other things that we can't do.
Yeah. Well, that's a great pivot to having weddings.
Yeah, we can't have weddings right now.
We can't have weddings right now. So you're engaged, and Ben is wonderful, and we love him.
Yes.
And you were planning your wedding was it going to be next weekend?
Yep. April 25th. It would have been 10 days from now.
When did you got engaged, in the fall?
No, I got engaged in July.
Okay. So then, so you've obviously been planning. I got my invitation. What was that like, having to make that decision? I can't.
I mean, I think I made the decision like pretty early, just because Yeah, just because I was like, well, I work in healthcare. Like, even if I can technically have my wedding on April 25th, am I going to be so slammed at work that I'm going to be like not able to enjoy it? Like, that was
Right.
kind of like my first thing. So I was like, well, like, I don't know what work is going to be like. Like, I don't, and, you know, I think work-life balance is really important, but like in times like this, it's like, no, like that's a priority, right?
Yes.
Um, so that was kind of my first thing. So the vendors I've worked with have been great. Like, honestly, like I was so surprised that like I didn't lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
Um, but like obviously like they can't even open, like there, you know, there's no
Right.
way they can do it. So I was able to move my date to August 1st, which I'm like at this point I'm like, oh. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We're still playing it by ear. And if worse comes to worse, if they're still recommending like no large which my wedding was pretty small anyways, it's like
Right.
50 to 60 people. We might just do it with family, you know what I mean? Like we don't want to put anybody at risk. And, you know,
Right.
obviously our parents and family members are a little bit older. So we'll play it by ear, but I'm being hopeful. Like the one thing that really sucks is that my wedding dress just finished getting fitted. And so like that's like an anxiety producing thing because like I said, I believe in health at every size. Like I think body is fluctuation is normal. However, when you have a certain garment that is very expensive and very
Important.
beautiful and important, I'm like, oh man, like I just like I would feel so much better if I hadn't finished getting it fitted, but whatever. I'll work on it.
You can redo it though. It's not.
But like it's like, did they cut off all? Like, I didn't look at the seams. I'm like, did they cut off all the fabric? Like, I don't know.
Still have. So do they still have it?
So I got my dress from David's Bridal, and they called me, and they actually shipped it to my mom's house for free because they
Nice.
didn't want, yeah, which was really nice because I mean it's very big packaging. I actually haven't seen it since I went to my mom's house because I haven't seen my mom, and so yeah, so that was very nice. So I think people in the wedding industry are, you know, going above and beyond to help accommodate brides even while they're like losing business. So like that was helpful. So yeah, so it's at my mom's house. So I haven't looked at it since it's.
Your attitude towards this is so. I mean, you had time to. You know, if the decision has been made a while ago, but you're so positive about it. I would be
I mean,
pissed.
I'm just excited to be getting married. Like, it's not about the wedding. Like, the
Right.
wedding is great. It's a bonus. It's a party. I love to party. I love my friends. But like, the most disappointing thing is that like we won't be married next week. Like, that's what I'm disappointed about. Like the wedding, I'm like, okay, it's a party. Like, we'll get it done. So.
Right. Well, I've seen some posts. People have just been bopping into City Hall and doing it.
You mean
I
outside of
saw
City Hall?
people in the Arboretum. I mean, I'm not suggesting any of this, but
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, like, I would love to do that, but like, I want a photographer there. Like, I want the memories. And
right.
I've got my photographer on August 1st. So I'm like, all right, like we'll just, and plus like family is really important to both of us. And we want our family there to watch us get married. So we can wait because like those are the important things. So we'll wait.
You're so freaking positive.
I mean, so I worked from home last week because we tried to stagger out our managers to make sure we all like stayed healthy for the surge,
That's
which
smart.
is going on right now. Yeah. And like we were fine. Like, so I'm like, if we can survive literally being like home for a whole week, like we're gonna last like 100 years. Like, because we didn't like it was good.
That's something that's very important that I don't think we've talked like I've just talked a lot about on the broadcast in general. A few people have mentioned it, but like, oh my gosh, you better like who you're locked down with right now.
I know. I was thinking like, what if this happened like when I was like living in JP with like my crazy roommate? Remember that? So I was like, oh my god, like what would I do? I would be so like my mental health would be. So like, and I'm sure there are people out there in those situations where they're like living with people they don't particularly care for, just because like that's the like where they live.
Or in more severe levels, domestic violence is
like stuff like that.
Right now.
I know.
Not in my personal situation, but I'm really worried about those people. And there are resources out there, but
I know.
It's scary.
Speaking of resources, I've been using the Boston 311 app like crazy.
I know that they have an app. They also have a thing that you can sign up to get texts from them, I guess.
Yeah, so since I've been going on walks, like that's the Boston 311 app. Since I've been going on walks, I've been like seeing things and I'm like, oh, let me just help my community. Like, so for example, I actually saw syringes in my neighborhood. So I reported it and they cleaned it up within like 3 hours of me reporting it.
They're
Like, I
really
think like
good.
syringes is like the top of their list, but I also like reported some like broken glass on a sidewalk because someone like broke the clear, like the bus panel, like the glass, someone shattered it. So there was glass like all over the sidewalk, and I was like, oh. So I reported that, and they cleaned it up, and so yeah.
I've used that. I haven't been using it lately. Haven't been in situations that I've needed it, but it's great if you live in the city of Boston. 311. They have an app, or you can call them for pretty much anything, and they can direct you into the right place. But I've mostly used it for syringe pickup, like around where I work and stuff. But it's a great app. But your mental health seems so good. What have you been doing to maintain besides just like taking walks?
I think I try to maintain a very positive social media surrounding. So what I mean by that is like on Instagram, like I follow a lot of like body positive like hashtags. So like my Instagram is like positive.
That's nice. That's smart.
Yeah, like I follow like hashtag curvy bride because it like makes me feel better to see like other people that are like a plus size like getting married, because people are plus size like get married, but you don't see it on like the David's bridal brochure. You know what I mean? So like that helps a lot. I try to read. I was like on a crazy like reading spree at the beginning of the year, but now I've basically just been like watching like trashy TV, but I'm trying to get back into reading. I like to read like historical fiction, which is actually like super soothing right now because you like read about like these like crazy strong women during World War II, and you're like,
that's
oh, dang.
That's so you and Chas.
I know, right? But it's like, oh, like these crazy women like dodging, you know, bombs in London during World War II. I guess I can stay home and like watch Netflix.
I put it in perspective.
So yeah, so that's kind of been helpful, and like I talk a lot on the phone with like my mom, and like obviously my fiance is available 24/7 to chat with. You know, he's doing online teaching, and he's actually had really great success with his students participating, which is really like a nice thing to see.
I've heard varying.
Yeah, so his school is actually like because they're gonna like interview Ben about like why so many of his students are participating in his activities, and like talk to some of the teachers who like aren't having great participation, and kind of see like what is the difference. Like, not that it's anybody's fault, like we're obviously like this is the first time we've all had to do this, like you know. So yeah, so Ben's like doing really. However, Ben teaches government, which he's like so passionate about, and it's great because I can ask him things. But right now, he's like digitally trying to talk about how we elect a president with his students, and I'm like, this is like the most important thing that they need to learn right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's they're not getting like the full like effect like of like being in a classroom and like spending all this time like really learning about it.
Right.
And I'm like, oh man, like.
Well, he must be engaging if he's having such a high turnout in his students. So
he makes me leave the house when he like he makes me leave the house on my walk when he like videos like his like chat. So I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, Becca's commenting that lack of technology has been an issue for students.
So in his district, he doesn't teach in Boston. He teaches in another district in Massachusetts. They actually have a program where all their kids have Chromebooks already. So like that was
with before this.
Yeah, so like every student in their district like gets a Chromebook.
Nice.
So yeah, so they all have access. I mean, his district is trying to figure out like, do some kids not have internet access at home? Because like it's great if you have a Chromebook, but you also need like the internet to go with it. So I think they're trying to reach out to those students, and but he's been having like a pretty good success rate. But plus he teaches high school too, so like, you know, it's different than elementary. You know, they can do more for themselves, and he teaches seniors, so they're like adults or close to it.
Oh gosh, and they're dealing with like trying to go to college.
Right. Yeah, they're probably like not gonna have a graduation. Like they might be able to vote in November and they're like getting like a Cliff Notes version of like how to elect a president. I'm like, oh God. I mean, Ben's doing the best he can. He's doing a good job, but like,
oh, what trashy TV? You said you've been watching trashy TV. Please do dish, girl. What have you been watching?
so much. When Paloma was on, I was commenting. I was like, have you been watching this? Because we were talking about like all the trashy TV we like at your party, and I was like, she never followed up with me if she liked it. So I love Below Deck on Bravo. Have you ever watched it?
Never even heard of it, except when you asked Paloma about it.
So it's so good, especially if you like work in the restaurant industry. It's about people who work on cruise ship, like not cruise ships, that's not the right word. Yachts, like luxury yachts. So it like follows like the crew, like the chef, and
it's reality.
It's reality TV, yeah. So like then they have like guests come on, the guests do like a 2 or 3 day charter, and like the guests are always crazy too, and then they have like the deck people. So I don't know, it's just like I miss being in the restaurant. Bless you.
My allergies. I just sneezed into my hands, which is inappropriate for these times.
Here, let me help you.
I have my
and I also have like our approved lotion as well, since my hands are like literally falling apart.
That's awesome though that they have that for you. So Below Deck.
Below Deck is very good. Grey's Anatomy ended early, which I was very sad. But like all those medical TV shows, I guess they donated like all of their equipment to like real hospitals, like all their, because they have like real stuff. Awesome. Yeah, so like they like donated like their masks and things like that.
They also didn't. I never imagined them using real equipment, but I guess they must to make it.
It's legit like real stuff. Like they use like real MRI machines, like real like they have a lot of money to spend. So.
Wow.
What else have I been watching? Oh, I watched a lot of Netflix series. I really liked the one Unorthodox about the
That's on my list.
That was really good. I watched it in one night.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it was very good. I really liked that. And I had watched the documentary that's been on Netflix for a while about like a real documentary about people trying to leave the Hasidic community in Brooklyn.
I've seen that one. I forget what it's called, but that was really well done. Yeah,
so this one was kind of more of like just like a regular TV show, but also like based on a real life thing. What else have I been watching? I try not to watch too much news. No, that wasn't trashy. I don't know. Below Deck is my favorite. I like caught up on like 4 different seasons.
Caitlin recommends Below Deck. Get out there.
Because I miss working in a restaurant. Oh, so working in a restaurant, I got like a free trial of Stars, and they have this show called Sweet Bitter, and I read the book. It's based on a book. It's about this like girl who like starts working at like a really fancy like or well-known restaurant in New York City, and it's like based on like this woman's like real life experience. I forget like what Union something. It's like a real restaurant in New York City, and it's like, oh my God, that was me as a baby restaurant person, just like all the shenanigans that go on in the restaurants.
I am a big fan of any sort of industry, books, TV, movies, because
like making bad decisions, like with the guy she's gonna date. I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. Like
that's the only piece of restaurant industry life that I never participated in, but I feel like I did because everyone around me was participating in it.
Yeah. It's like, you know,
I went into the industry and I was already with Christopher, so like.
You got to skip out on all that.
I get to skip out on all the hookup drama, but I mean, there was enough to go. There was enough to go around for me to live vicariously.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I'm 18. This like older guy who's in his late 20s looks so broken. Let me fix him. It's like, girl, don't.
Like no.
Yeah. And like it was cool because she like also like really fell in love with like the restaurant industry and like learning about wine and like never having tasted oysters before and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God, I remember like those are like the positive things. Like, yes, there's like crazy things, but like the positive stuff like matters too. Like, you know, if you really love food and you love wine and you know, it's a great industry, and I'm so sad to see it so impacted.
I have a love-hate relationship with the industry, but
yes, yeah.
I still haven't figured out how I'm going to help besides giving everyone all my money once they open back up and like getting takeout and buying gift cards and all that. But
I know. I'm like, I miss Napper Tandy's pizza. I miss like everything at Bella Luna / like working there.
yeah.
Oh my god, the nachos.
You were still working there, right?
Yeah, I've been there for 5 years. I will never leave. I love you, Carol and Megan, if you're watching. If they watch later.
Carol and Megan.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah. Oh, the nachos at Bella Luna.
Oh. We had nachos one night for dinner and it just like wasn't.
I made nachos for myself on Sunday night. I'm like, well, these are pathetic.
I'm making carbonara tonight.
Ooh. We got A&N pizza yesterday for your recommendation.
I'm so glad.
We've only gotten takeout twice since this whole thing happened because I've had so much time to cook, and I'm like, I need to be supporting the restaurants, but I also have time to cook. So it's a weird.
We only get it on Fridays because we live with an immunocompromised person, and it would be too much to just be doing it more than that one day.
Yeah. So
we're getting Sophia's Grotto this Friday.
Ooh, yeah, that's the other place I've been wanting to go to. That's my favorite.
We're like, I guess we go there frequently beforehand. So
yeah, Ben and I go there at least once a month, I think.
We haven't really ventured out of our bubble, but maybe a JP restaurant.
I guess Dunkin' counts, right?
What does?
Dunkin'?
I have not been going to Dunkin'.
I just am so grateful for those people, like, still being there. Like, I need them.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, the top of my street, there's the 24-hour one. And there's people in there every time.
It drives me crazy, though, when I see people, like, wearing gloves, like, to go into Dunkin' Donuts. Like, you should wear your face mask. Like, definitely wear your face covering. But gloves, stop wearing gloves. Just wash your hands.
Yeah.
Because people have gloves on, and then they're like, oh, look at how safe I am. I'm like, no, like, just touch what you need to touch, get in your car, have some hand sanitizer if you can find it, and just wash your hands when you get home. Don't touch your face.
People are, like Christopher and I don't know how to put this, but we're experienced glove wearers.
Yes, so you understand,
we do wear our gloves when we're out, but we also wore gloves for years and years and years and years, and we're still wearing them when we work in kitchens. So, like, I don't know. I think we're doing it responsibly, and I just refuse to not, so sorry.
Well, anyway. There's so many people who, like, don't know, and, like, I think it gives them a false sense of security. So, like, that's what I'm concerned about. And also, like, don't throw them on the ground. Like, stop being a dick. Jerk. Sorry.
No, do not throw your stuff on.
It's the worst.
It makes me so
mad. I'm like, yeah, it's not right. Because it's like all those supermarket workers are working so hard to keep the stores, like, stocked. And then they have to, like, clean the parking lot. I'm like, come on. It's not cool.
It's not. So every guest on Lockdown Lunch gets to have the final word, because I think it's only fair. Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity to tell a joke, say something inspiring, give advice, vent, shout out your friends, say hi to your family. I don't care what you do. I just want to wear my sunglasses. So, Caitlin, the floor is yours.
I just hope that everyone can stay positive, and it's really hard to, but we will get through this. And thank you for telling healthcare workers that we matter, especially those people who aren't doctors and nurses, because there's tons of other professionals that are super essential that you don't even know about, like dietitians and food service workers. And yeah, so I'm looking forward for when this is over and to be married. That's all I got. And make some bread.
Bake some bread, baby. Bake some bread. Caitlin, I want to thank you for taking your actual lunch break. I'm sorry, my allergies are driving me nuts today. Taking your actual lunch break to do this from work at the hospital. I want to thank everyone for watching now or watching later. I want to thank everyone for liking and commenting and sharing. And for tuning in every day. because this has been really fun for me and also just like weird. This is weird. I don't know. I just
You always find a way to turn something like that could be like really bad into like a way to like be creative and like try something new. So at least you're consistent, Kelly.
Thank you. I can't help it. All right, I gotta go because I need to blow my nose. But Caitlin, thank you so much. And please pass on to your staff, all of them at the hospital, that we're thinking of them. We're so grateful for them and everything that they do. And we love you. And tomorrow, I hope everyone will tune in for my guest joining me. Oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze again. Samantha Montano. She is going to join me for lunch and talk about ways that we can be a more equitable society. All the Latinx media she has been consuming. And of course, if you know Sam and I, we can't have one single conversation without talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. So if any of those things interest you, or you just love Samantha like I do, please tune in tomorrow. Yes. I love you all. Thank you. Be safe. Stay home. Wash your hands. Throw out your gloves. Don't put them in the driveway or the Stop and Shop or whatever. Don't do that. All right. Love y'all.
Bye.